Oh, yes, bringing winemakers and wine lovers together. That's the Good Morning Portugal Wine Club. Here again on the 7th of October with a head-to-head on the Rosés, whose idea came from, the idea for this came from Gary and Linda Austin, who join us on the screen now. Hello, Benoit, to the way.
I reckon that theme tune, I could probably play with my armpits.
Had exactly that in mind. So if you could take us out with that later, I mean, not literally take us out with that, but maybe see us out with that later on. Yeah. Yeah, and maybe we can get a bit of tracing paper and a comb. It looks like Pete's already doing that. Maybe not. So we've got a few wine ninjas limbering up in the background. With tracing paper and stuff, and they will be joining us on the screen soon to drink rosé, which we don't do very often, do we? Why is that, do you think, Gary and Linda, and why are we doing it tonight?
I don't know, because I love rosés. It's one of my favourite things to drink, and I think they've just got a bit of a wishy-washy image. People don't really know, what to make of them. They're not red and they're not white, are they? They're rosé. So I think a lot of people just don't go there, especially men, because they tend to think they're a little bit on the lady side.
Yes, I think that's true. And when I was thinking what I could eat with it, I didn't come up with a manly burger. I made myself a prawn cocktail. Yes. So I think guilty as charged. And what do you think about Portuguese culture and rosés? Because again, I think the Portuguese prefer more of a statement, don't they? It's red or it's white. And it's a lot about the red in this country. And rosés seem to suffer, even more harshly in Portugal than perhaps in the UK, where people do like a rosé to get bladdered on. But basically, I guess that's the difference between British and Portuguese drinking in a way as well.
Well, if you remember, turn your memory back to when you were younger, probably the rosé you cut your teeth on was going to be Matias Rosé, wasn't it?
That's true. The Portuguese Matias Rosé, which is featured in our opening sequence there with Jimi Hendrix drinking. Absolutely, yeah. It's almost not a rosé, but of course it is. Yeah. Well said. Well said. Yeah. But we survived that, didn't we?
We did.
We lived to tell the tale.
Not the best rosé I've tasted, but probably not the worst either. So let's be fair to it.
And you've come full circle then, it's fair to say, like from that kind of slightly awkward relationship with Matias Rosé in the UK, we've mainly drunk reds. We've had a few whites with this club. And you've taken us, the Austin household have taken us into rosé territory, and quite successfully. So you wanted to do that again tonight and go his and hers. Could you tell us a bit more about that?
It's time for that contest now, because as we said, we always get this kind of thing in our heads that rosés are a little bit on the feminine side.
Yeah.
Well, I've got two rosés here, which are very, very different. I've got my old champion, the Shaker Rosé, which we have done before, and I haven't really had anything since to beat it in my own taste. But it's a very, very sharp, very clean, acidic wine, which is the way that I like my rosés: sharp, clean, classy.
Manly, a manly rosé.
It would be manly. So, I mean, even the label. If you look at the label, right? It's a no fuss, sensible label.
That could be a bottle of red wine, couldn't it? With that particular label, with the insignia on there. Yeah, it's not leaning into chase me, is it?
No, I wouldn't have thought so. I mean, you'd be proud to get that out to your cellar and show it off to people. That's a decent, good, solid, statement of wine.
Yes, yeah.
To go, and then we get the imposter come on the scene. Imposter. Maybe you'd like just a little leading on that.
This is Massinita.
Do we know that name?
We know that name. We've orange wine.
We had orange wine, didn't we? Thanks to Eloise, who treated us to that. From the eye candy man at Massinita, whose name I forget now. Linda, and I will bring that onto the screen for you, and we'll peruse him a little bit later on. But maybe speak more about his wine than the man himself.
Well, the label is quite feminine. It's got flowers on it. Very pretty label. Nice shaped bottle.
It's got hips. It's a womanly bottle. Whereas this, I mean, come on, what does it remind you of? We're a bit more phallic, aren't we, with this one? Really?
Phallic rather than hippie, yes, definitely.
And this is a sweeter wine. I prefer my rosés a little on the sweeter side. I'm not keen on the dry rosés. I enjoy in rosé, as Ian Turner said, on a really hot day.
Yes,
a glass of rosé wine is really, really lovely. It just goes down a treat.
Yep.
So we tried this one recently, and we both actually do like the taste of it. And then we're talking about the wines, and Gary suddenly come up with the idea of, let's have a his and her competition.
There they are. Yes. Yeah, right there on the screen. Amazing. Okay.
Standoff, yes.
Yes. Okay. Seems fairly civilized so far. Let's see if we can change that. Let's bring Pete and Diane onto the screen. Are you ready, guys? Give us a wave if you're ready. Okay, fantastic. Thank you for joining us this evening. How are you?
Yeah, right, not too bad. We've had a bit of an issue. I had sciatica on Friday, and it was really painful. So unfortunately enough, we should have been at Gary and Linda's for the festival. But I'm really glad that Gary's put on his effeminate shirt for today. So is he coming as EasyJet cabin crew today? Is that what you're dressed as?
I'll take one of those sandwiches. Yes, fair enough. So you're not going to make it to the famous festival with the inflatable buttocks, is that?
That was amazing. Was it that good this weekend? How was it, guys?
Because of the weather, it's been largely pretty much wiped out. We went on the Saturday, and we saw an amazing. How many of them? Probably about 6.
Yeah.
Accordionists, is that the group term for them?
I don't know.
Yes. Like crows, they're a murder of accordion players.
I didn't know that you could get these sort of sounds out of an accordion, because you get the old pinball stuff going,
yes.
But these other guys, like, they were just doing things with accordions which sounds dodgy, but
the songs were absolutely unbelievable. Very complex.
The one guy racked out Mission Impossible, which I thought was pretty impressive.
Awesome.
And this other guy did I don't know what the rendition is, but it was I could have used this on a video, this soundtrack. It was a really sort of tense, menacing, sort of action-packed and it was really, really good. Probably the most fabulous act of the day, to be honest. But it's not the same with my old wingman there, is it, mate? I'm never going to enjoy
this bumper cars with you, definitely.
It wouldn't definitely with your back. That wouldn't be the best thing, would it?
What was great though, Gary, I got the doctor out here again for €25, which I just think is amazing, right? So came out to the middle of nowhere, and he's given me 6 months worth of drugs, right? So when Di went to the chemist, she came out with 2 big plastic bags. I could open my own chemist now, honestly. I've got enough to keep me free forever, but it's
he's even got injections if he needs them.
No, I just want to see me getting stabbed. That's what it is. I can understand, but that's it. Definitely. Yeah. But no, it's really good. And we've got a rosé from Fundal. So we've got
let's have a look. Hold it up to the screen, if you will. Beaker, is it? As in Beaker, the coffee drink, the small coffee.
Yeah, it must be, I suppose. I tell you what, that is a weird way to get drunk, because Friday or Saturday, I think I'd had all me opiates and stuff to calm down the sciatica. And we decided, instead of having shots, we went for Cafe Comcherinos. Yeah. And I think I had about 12 at the end of the evening. I can't remember anything else after that point. Yeah. So it was good. And
I was out for the count.
You woke up with 2 carrier bags full of painkillers around him.
I think it works really well as a disinfectant, because all the other, there was us and another couple of mates, Jamie and Max and his family, and the people that didn't drink the coffee with aguardent, they all got really sick, and we were all fine. So I think it must burn away any kind of illness. I think I think it might even be a COVID cure. You never know.
The only problem was this morning we had a lightning strike, hit the
that was
house,
nuts.
and everything went off. The lights all sparked. He stayed in bed. I had to get up and sort it out.
The opiates are
Oh
brilliant.
yes, heard about that. I heard you got sent to sort out the fuse board. Is it in the house, or is it like half a mile away down on the property?
A couple of them are.
We got one in here, one in the next building,
one at the gate.
One at the gate. The one at the gate had gone.
That's about a mile away.
And the one next door had gone.
Got your own substation came under attack.
Yeah.
Wow. Everything's okay now, though, is it?
Oh, it was great. I was really impressed that we had a full lightning strike on one of the solar arrays, and it was earthed well enough to survive. So I was quite impressed that we didn't get zapped. It was really good.
Might have sorted out your sciatica if you put yourself in the right place, Pete.
Well, I've got Matty. Matty sent me some videos, and I was thinking Matthias Rosé. We should get him on, but he's probably busy today, isn't he, with work? So
yeah,
but,
he's working.
He has become quite the dull boy, and I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean he's very busy, isn't he? Okay, so don't try any of this at home. What Pete just said. That is strictly Peter's lifestyle, and we encourage responsible drinking. I can't even say it, let alone do it. And the Doc was on the Good Morning Portugal show last week saying responsible drinking is where you don't hurt yourself or other people around you, which seems like a really good definition to me. Quite not the NHS one, I don't suppose, but well done, the Doc, for sharing that with us. Okay, so can I just get something out of the way? We talked a little bit, didn't we, about 0%? I think you had a view on this, didn't you, Pete? About 0% wines.
Well, I only know the worst one I know is the beers, and some of the 0% beers are horrible. I don't know if you've tried Superbox Zero or
Don't like any of it. Yeah, if I had to, I went for the Heineken one. I think that one would tasted the best of a bad bunch, has to be said.
But if you're drinking 0% wine, why not just have grape juice? It tastes lovely. Why would you
Well
go
said.
for? I don't know about that one, but that's I haven't tried them, so I don't know.
Well, I was talking about this. I'm sure you'll have a view on this as well. Vegetarian and veganism, and how those fake meats are seen to be transitioning devices. So you go onto fake bacon to wean yourself off bacon and just go to straightforward vegetables after all. Maybe it's the same with this. That this is a transitioning to teetotaldom, and you drink so much horrible 0% wine that you don't want any wine of any kind within a few weeks, and that's it. So I do want to try it though, because I said I would, for scientific purposes. So if we could get that out of the way, and I'm sorry I can't lean over and top your glasses up, but this was donated to me. T-Duck, thank you for giving us this, because you didn't want it. I think you weren't drinking too much, or you were clearing out, or there's another reason. And it's a bit fizzy. Smells odd. It smells like it's already been spilled on the pub carpet.
It's not from Belmont, is it?
No. It tastes just like a child's drink. I think you're right, Pete. It's like, well, why not just drink Schlur or something made for the purpose rather than a substitute thing? So it's not the end of the world. It doesn't taste like a rosé. It's rosé coloured, and it's made by JMF. We know JMF. We've drunk their drinks, haven't we? You like them, don't you, Gary?
Yeah, they do some decent products. Nothing wrong with them. I think I've had that one, and I wasn't really a fan, to be honest.
It's a soft drink, isn't it? It's basically a soft drink. It's not really a wine. So
so it'll be more expensive in the festa than wine as well. That's the annoying thing. Any soft drink is more expensive than beer and wine anyway.
Crazy,
yeah, I don't know. I'm dodgy about things like that. The other thing is grape juice is lovely. I honestly don't understand why you wouldn't drink grape juice. It
really nice. It does taste a bit grapey, fizzy grape juice possibly. And worryingly, instead of it being made as a fizzy grape juice, it sounds like it's wine that's been, and the word used on the label is de-alcoholized. So God only knows what that process involves. Probably.
It's the weird thing. You were saying about vegans and vegetarians earlier. Yeah. Whenever I have friends around who are vegans or vegetarians, if I can, I'll try and make something that we've got growing anyway. But if you can't, if you get one of those substitutes, they're so full of like E numbers and preservatives, and that it takes all the reason of eating healthily out of being a vegan or vegetarian. It just seems very odd.
Yeah.
And if they can manage it somewhere like India, where 99% of people are vegetarian, I don't understand why in the West we just don't make more interesting vegetarian food.
It's possible, isn't it? It is possible.
Well, Portugal's quite bad like that. I think the vegetarian option is quite often not only a lot more expensive, but not as well cooked. It's just I think it's difficult. We've got friends that are vegetarians that find it a real struggle, sort of.
I think you've got to have a chef who's up for it, haven't you? If you've got a chef who's slightly angry at the suggestion of making some vegetarian or vegan food for somebody, it's not going to turn out terribly well, is it? But I mean, I think there are some who do try, and obviously, you know, in the big cities, you're going to get some fantastic vegetarian and vegan food. So Douglas is with us. Good evening from Bronte on the slopes of Mount Etna. He is a jet setter, isn't he? No wine for me yet. Got a 45-minute drive to my hotel. I'm listening rather than watching. Good evening to you, Doug. Jackie's here as well. Benoit just popped in to say hi. Hi, Jackie. And Gemini, also. Gemini Bradshaw over in the UK as well. I'm sorry to hear that your weather wasn't great. Got your message from earlier this morning, Gemini. Thank you for being here this evening. And thank you for your comments, Coach Turner, as well. Pinot Noir grape is what Coach favours for a rosé, and says, yeah, I think things have changed, haven't they, everywhere with rosés. It's not just because we've moved to Portugal. I think the industry generally has changed its view and its production techniques with rosé. The Austins are getting ahead seriously here, aren't they, with the head-to-head? How's it going?
Well, we got some on our plate. We got some chicken satay sticks to go with the wine. This one, you know, with the shaker, it's as good for me as it's always been. It's a nice wine. It cleans the palate. It's not offensive in any way. It's just a very good rosé, and has always performed well for me. Goes well with this meal. I'm still my king, I'm afraid.
Yeah, it's okay. It's just a bit dry for my taste.
The Pacheco, you're both drinking the Pacheco at the moment, right?
Yeah, both drinking the Pacheco.
But like they say, I mean, it's really designed for one of those seethingly hot days where beer just doesn't cut it. I mean, you can have a really sharp white wine or a beer, and for some reason it just doesn't kill the thirst. But you get yourself a really nice cold rosé, and it just cuts through that thirst and leaves you refreshed. I don't know anything else that can do that in that sort of order. So that's
would you say muscatel would, though? Because on my favourite on a really hot day is like a settable muscatel, because it's sweet and it does kind of clear your dry mouth quite quickly. But I don't know, maybe it's not as wet, I suppose.
I get it. I mean, I love muscatel. Don't get me wrong, but muscatel is quite a heavy grape, and it leaves a residue behind because it's quite sugary. This doesn't. It just washes away, and goes. That's why I like it.
If you prefer a sweeter flavour, then you might enjoy this one, because it is on the sweeter side. It's actually it's not a blend. It's Touriga Nacional, just Touriga Nacional grapes.
Right.
And Douro, and it's actually grown at very high altitude.
Right, let's have a look at this, because
sorry, they rescued the there's Antonio Massanate.
There he is, the man himself. Yeah.
Winemaker, and his sister persuaded him to buy this Adega, this winery in the Douro, and it was to rescue the ancient grapes, the Touriga National grapes. So cheers to her.
I think that might be her there, might it, in the picture.
Possibly. Yeah. Perhaps on the other page that I sent you, you can see her, I think perhaps a bit more.
I like
She's
this.
just looking dim.
Yeah.
Has she got a beard?
No.
She got it shaved, I think, for these pictures.
Yeah,
I'll come back to you to the links that you sent to me. But you certainly looks like you have a great time with them in the Douro. And I thought, Linda, that it was all about the Azores. That's where our orange wine came from, wasn't it? From the Azores.
Yeah.
Well, apparently, Antonio Massanate, he's started in the Alentejo.
Right.
It's the Fita Preto Adega in the Alentejo, and then he moved to the Azores, which is where his father was born. So he bought a plantation there, and then his sister persuaded him to move a bit further north.
Amazing.
So they're sort of like spread around now.
Here we go. Here is I think that's the one you're drinking tonight, but it doesn't look like the same bottle for some reason. And that looks like a very nice little website. Antonio, we're still with Antonio Massanita, the main man, the winemaker, and obviously his sister's involved as well. And yeah, thanks for that page. So we can look a bit more into the specs a bit later on. But as you say, interesting that it's a Touriga Nacional, single varietal.
Single varietal.
Sophisticated and special. Now, talking of sophisticated and special, let's give him a nice big round of applause. I don't recognize this bloke. You might be able to help me.
Hey, Frank.
Lovely to see you, Frank. Definitely.
Oh my word. Frank, is it? Did you say Frank?
How's it going? Stop you, drama queen. What's going on?
Cheers to you. Chin chin. Is that a rosé in there, or is that a lager?
Yeah, I'm drinking a rosé because isn't this what you guys are doing today?
We are.
It looks a bit frothy and fizzy, Frank. Good evening to you. Thank you for being here. Lovely to see you.
Lovely to see you too. It is fizzy. It's a fizz. It's a continent special.
Oh, nice. Okay, Contemporary. So we've got quite a selection here tonight, haven't we? Contemporary. We'll come back to you, Frank. Tell us more about that. But that looks like a fizz that does the biz with a pink tinge to it. So goodness knows where the party goes with that one.
Of course.
The Fundal.
Linda, can I ask a question? Because I love Touriga Nacional, but I usually love it when it's really aged, right? So my favourite Touriga Nacional is just like 5-6 year olds and older. And we've got friends who've got a vineyard in the Douro. Had a horrible time this year because the weather's been so bad. All the grapes have been dropping off. We had such big temperature fluctuations. But is it an older rosé? I know that sounds odd. And Frank, heads up to you. I think rosé's best when it's fizzy. I think that's a really good idea, personally.
That's a way for it to get in, right?
Exactly. I think it just affects you quicker as well, doesn't it? So
Yeah, I mean, that's what I was going to ask Gary. If you're drinking rosé on a hot summer's day to quench your thirst, that's a recipe for getting drunk very quickly. And then if you add bubbles to it as well, game over.
You imagine if you're drinking red wine on the same level, you wouldn't last long, would you? To be honest, a good bottle of strong red with the rosé, you could probably have double the amount and not feel too bad.
Good point. What? Well, this Pacheco is 13%, however. But yeah, get your point. Take your point there.
Yeah,
I've had a nice to this, Gary.
Your Stabile red is probably about somewhere around the 14 and a half. So that's a more heavier wine.
Yep. No, I'm enjoying this. Thank you for your recommendation. I did put an ice cube in to take it down a little bit, but it is really dry, isn't it? It's so not what I was expecting. It's really, really a nice, a good drink. Loving that. So thank you.
What do you get from it? Because I'm just examining. It doesn't got too much smell. Not much nose on it for me. A little bit of oak, maybe. A bit of dry fruit. But
it's super dry. Is it astringent? The word? It's really, really.
It is
not
dry.
in any way syrupy, and that's what I'm dreading in a fake beer, a fake wine, or a wine like those awful Chardonnays and cheap wines that are very syrupy. This is not that, which is great. Gemini, the Algarvians always say to me the best wines come from the Alentejo. It means they don't have to drive as far, to be fair, but I'm sure it's true as well. And when I told my father that my wine was going to my head, he said it's going to be very lonely. Very good. Right, more about yours, please. The Bleach household.
Ours is super dry as well.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like it really is. As soon as you take a sip, your mouth just completely dries up. So it's. I must admit, I think Frank's idea with bubbles is probably a really good one because it counteracts it, so you can kind of drink it quicker. So we've got some downstairs with bubbles. We might have to try that out and compare later on. Because usually I always try and promote like our local Adega. I always try and say I'll go there first. But this one I wouldn't go back to be honest. It's not even cold. I still think it'd just be too dry on a hot day. So dry. I don't know.
I'll have to try that because that sounds like my cup of tea, a drier.
Gary, did you get one of these when we were with Hugh? One of his rosés?
I did. Well,
have you tried that yet? I'm not, because he's not here. I'm not going to open it because I've already got 2 flipping bottles open anyway. I know one of them's non-alcoholic, but I think this Pacheco is enough for me. What's Hugh's like? What's the Minola? Quinta de Tres Rios.
When you look at it, it's a much darker wine.
isn't
So
it?
it's got a bit more body and a bit more fruit, but it's
Yeah.
still quite on the drier side.
Yeah.
So I quite like that. I'm quite happy with that. It's very drinkable. So
Very
big
good.
thumbs up for me. And it's a dow. I mean, we found a dow was drinkable.
Who knew? Who knew? Brilliant. Okay, I was going to ask Frank how the Algarve is because it's been. Oh, here we go. He's back again now. Frank, I can see us now. That's fantastic. How is the weather in the Algarve? We've been talking tonight about lightning strikes. I guess it's blazing sunshine down with you, isn't it?
Do you really want me to tell you about the weather? Do you want me to bore you with the weather? Well, it is 28, 29, and it was another sunny day. What are you going to do?
Really? So no rain at all by you?
No, rain is meant for up top, kind of, Lisbon and up top,
where we grow wine,
where you grow wine. I get my wine from there. This is the area where you don't.
Very good.
It's still like when you go out, it's like nice evenings. You can like walk around with a t-shirt and you can walk around with your shorts. It's just, fantastic. I don't know. It's God's way of thanking you for coming and living in Algarve.
So as well as walking around with your shorts, I take it you put them on as well.
I try to sometimes unsuccessfully.
Yeah, okay. So tell us about life in the Algarve at the moment. Is the season noticeably coming to an end, or is it still rocking and rolling down there?
It's still, I think, till the end of October, beginning of November is when the other season starts picking up, because then it's going to be for a month, for about 2 to 3 weeks. It kind of goes slow, and then after that, beginning of December. Because everyone is, December and January, nothing happens in Portugal. So December and January is when people start coming over, and then there's more vacation and all that kind of stuff. So as far as the short-term outlets are concerned, or people living around here, the season is long.
Yeah. Okay. And Dougie's.
It's just that the only thing is, I was at the beach about 2 days ago. It was on Saturday. You can't go into the water, but the weather is still very, very nice.
You can't. I mean, presumably the Scandinavians in the Algarve go into the water, don't they?
But they're lunatics. We're not, right? So they'll go into the water.
Yeah, I was in the swimming pool on Saturday here, but I admit it was a bit cold. It was it was quite retractable in terms of it was really freezing. But that's only because of my leg. I think I was in there.
Doctor advised it.
Yeah.
A bit of sciatic shrinkage, possibly. Okay, well,
indeed, it was definitely brass monkeys weather.
Right.
Well, it was probably like an ice bath after a workout, right? Something like that.
Exactly. Yeah, that is exactly what I was trying to convince myself as my nether regions withdrew. Definitely. Yeah.
Yes.
It worked, so it was good.
We'll be there end of October, says Dougie. Viva Algarve. It's his favourite part of the country, and he'll be with you there. I mean, I'd love to see that video if you two meet up, if you don't mind, Frank and Doug, together again. And Musicians Life 360. Is this you, Michael Bliss? Evening, friends, and hello to all drinking a Montevideo Rosé with you all tonight. Very nice. Yeah, tell us more, please, if you don't mind. Montevideo, we know and love. That's an Alentejo wine, isn't it? Montevideo, I believe. Anyone know the answer to that?
But this apparently is a very, very good season to go up north. There is this... it's going to come out wrong, but it's called Festa da Foda. Up north, and what the specialty is, it's a very small town, and their specialty is they basically do an entire cabrito. Just like you do like an entire pork, they do an entire cabrito, and it's an entire weekend. And it's called Festa da Foda. And just by the name of it, you're going to have a good time.
Yeah, all right. I'll see what we can find out about that. I'm reluctant to look it up, but I think we should, and see what's going on there.
You should look and don't be shy. We know how your Google settings are.
Feira da Foda, possibly.
Feira da Foda. See, okay. Feira da Foda.
Okay, I will come. I'll show you a bit more of that on the screen a little bit later.
It's in Montsant, right?
Yes, it is. It is.
Yes, it's in Montsant.
way up north. Yeah, excellent. Okay,
Mhm.
video we can have a look at. There's a lot of sheep. Good job, Doug. He's only listening and not watching. There's a lot of sheep on this video and website here.
Oh
Right.
yeah, no, it's a wonderful festival.
We'll come back to the Austins to do a bit of scoring on this. I think dinner's going down very nicely. It's paired very well with the chicken satay skewers. What are you going to have with that pink fizz, Frank? What's the ideal accompaniment for that, would you say?
Nothing, no accompaniment. Once I finish this, I go to the next one.
Would it go well with food, had you bothered?
It would go well with I don't know, nice baba ganoush. It would go very, very well with that. Something a little bit with caramelized onions. It would go very, very well with, because it's kind of on the dry side. And what is this that you're presenting us with?
Right. Why are you laughing, Gary? I made a.
I'm just waiting for you to get shot to bits now, mate. That's it.
Oh, it's all right. It's all right. It's very 70s. I love the fact it's so 1970s. You should have like
it's
afterwards. I reckon.
It's good.
There's only one thing you should do with a glass of this kind, right? And that is to put a prawn cocktail in it, or a dessert. And that's what I've made, prawn cocktail. Plenty of cayenne pepper on there. Do you like that lemon?
Very
garlic?
nice.
Yeah.
Very nice. Very stylishly done, I have to say.
Iceberg lettuce and
Yes.
especially factory.
I want to ask you, where did you get such small prawns in Portugal? Because usually all the prawns I've seen are like bloody monsters. They look
they're frozen.
Creatures.
Don't listen, Frank, but they're frozen and they're also cut up with crab sticks as well.
Super 70s. I like it.
However, a few chopped up bits of gherkin as well, some sweet gherkin in there.
Lovely.
Very nice.
Well, that sounds
So
fab.
I think that's quite nice with this dry rosé. I'm into goats instead of sheep now. What's that? Is that another sort of transition in the theme of the evening, isn't it? That's all I've seen here in Sicily. Wow.
You know, Dougie, after a few drinks, he starts talking about sheep and cows and horses and stuff like that. There's something goes on with him.
Farming, hopefully.
Sorry, the cat's out of the bag, Dougie.
The cat as well, eh? Gary and Linda. Let's go back to Alvagra at the Austin household. Let's go head to head then, as scheduled. Say more about your two pinks there, your two rosés, and maybe let's go for some scores out of 5.
Well, before I do that, I want to say to Frank, right, if I was there sharing that bottle of fizz with you, right, I think we might be eating some oysters. I think some oysters would go really, really nice with that.
They would. You're right.
I wouldn't eat them.
No, you'd be hostile.
I wouldn't either. Honestly, oysters and sickness go quite hand in hand. You know what I mean? Everyone thinks, oh yeah, fine. But they're bottom feeders, aren't they, right? So whatever crud poured into that section of sea that swilled down to the oysters down when you're getting it, you're going to eat, I don't know, especially off the English coast. I would never eat an oyster.
Good though, Pete. And you can have a cafe con chorino, a couple of those before you get started.
Just stick to the cafe con chorino. Honestly, it's the cheapest, easiest. You can get blind drunk for less than, what are they? They're €1. They're less than €1, and you get the same shot of aguardent and coffee.
But Pete, you know what? On a very hot day, if you're coming out of the Mercado Municipal over here in Tavira, you're coming out, there's a guy outside. He doesn't even have any ice. He's got like all these oysters that he's shucking for you, and he'll just give you a few oysters. He has no regard for temperature. He'll just give it to you because, once you start getting sick, he's going to disappear, right? That's what's going to happen. He's going to sell it to you for 50 cents and whatever. And there are people, like he's got lemon and he's just squeeze it right there. He'll shut the oyster. He'll give it to you and you'll eat it. And, it's up to you on what kind of day. If it's very, very hot, then I would suggest not to eat it because there's a temperature problem. But, as we know in Portugal, there is no temperature problem. You just go with the flow.
Yeah, exactly. Layer is the trick, isn't it? And what still amazes me in Portugal is how much people wear on really hot days. It's still, and I still don't think I've quite acclimatized yet. I can, like Gary, I know is from Birmingham. How long do you reckon it's taken you to acclimatize to being in Portugal in terms of like not hanging around in shorts in December?
Well, I'm made quite hardy, but these past few years I've got a real wimp. I can't move anymore. So I would say probably for the first couple of years, I was like, I can't stand this heat. You know, I'm down to my shorts. If I could be walking around in the nude, I probably would. But these past few years, anything sort of below sort of 23 is cool. You know, and I don't really want to do it.
It's cool. Yeah.
So yeah, I think I've
Cardigan goes off.
So I'm officially a wimp. I'm a Portuguese wimp.
Yeah.
And you've got a cardigan.
Yeah, I've got a cardigan. My cardigan goes on when it gets below 23. And I'm thinking...
I've bought myself a nice cardigan.
Wait, I believe you guys are in the kitchen, right? Linda and Garvo, you guys are in the kitchen. There's this big heater, old-fashioned heater over there. You guys must be like, guys must turn it on like right about now, right?
It hasn't been on yet, but it will go on soon. And then you have the nuclear reactor in the corner of the...
Yeah.
By the door then.
It's heats up at home. It's really nice. Yeah,
Tell us about your wine, and a bit more about these his and hers, if you will.
Okay, we've tucked into the opposition.
Yeah.
Do you want to say your bit?
Well, actually, it's very, very nice. It's going down a treat, and it's got this lovely aftertaste, a bit like cream soda. Do you remember the cream soda drinks?
Yes.
Wild.
Yes.
It's a bit like that. Very, very nice.
Sarsaparilla. Yes, I think that's also known as, isn't it? Yes, very nice. Okay.
This is a rosé.
It's a rosé.
Okay. Now, to be honest,
it's actually quite pale compared to yours.
They are poles apart. This is, as we said, straight up, simple rosé, refreshing, dry, cleansing. You know, this more complex. When you drink it, you think, oh hell, it's going to be one of those syrupy, horrible rosé, but it doesn't. It doesn't ever get there. It suddenly takes this turn to a dryness, and I think actually that's not too bad. And then you get this weird cream soda thing on the tail of it. So for me, it is a smooth, very smooth, drinkable wine which you could drink on its own. This one I think is a more of a meal wine. It goes well with food. Yeah. You could drink it on its own, but I think it's better with food.
I think it would probably be good with salmon.
Yes, salmon. Prawns, garlic prawns.
Whereas this is, I think, sitting by the pool on a really warm afternoon
with a straw
in the bottle, drinking it and really enjoying it.
It's marks out of 5 then. It's definitely got the 2 glass threshold for you, Linda, tonight. I can see that.
Yeah. That's definitely
is Linda's approval standard still 2 glasses, Linda? What are we talking here? Have we moved to 3 glasses now?
I only had one of that one, but this is my second of this one.
Okay. All right.
You only had one of that and 2 of those.
Yeah, that's it.
Nice.
And what have we got out of 5, Linda?
I'm going to give it a 4.5 because I really do like it.
Okay, all right, and there it is in the Antonio Massanita winemakers online shop somewhere here. Yeah, there it is. Well priced, probably then at $8.95. Certainly a value wine compared to some of their others in the range here. They've got freshly squeezed rosé. That must be a very young one. Rosé Volcanico. Which I don't know what that's an Azorian one. That's why it's Volcanico. There you go. And a Rosé dos Vilhões. Very nice bottles. That reminiscent of a port bottle there, isn't it? The dos Vilhões from Porto Santo. Your choice tonight, the Torriga Nacional Rosé. A Proibida Rosé as well from the Açores and Fita Preta, back to Fita Preta, and another freshly squeezed rosé. And then their sexy range.
Sexy wines,
Would anybody here be tempted to buy one of those, if not for themselves and for somebody else? Is that a wine?
Certo. Garrafa é muito sexy.
Just for the bottle.
What do you think, Bleach household? Is that a sort of wine purchase you'd want to make?
I don't know. It's the sort of thing we'd end up with after a party, is what I reckon. I'm sure someone
Yeah.
would bring something like that.
Yes.
But, and that is cool. So yeah, it looks fun, definitely. So why
I like
not?
the
Yeah.
bottle.
Yeah.
Pete, you and I know. Looking at that bottle is a panty remover. You know that, right? Like, look at that. That's a proper bottle right there,
mate. Definitely. You've got. How's everything going anyway? Are you you're still single and ready to mingle down there, or are you
always. No. I've been out of the single market for a bit. I was going to say always, but then I thought I was going to get a slap across the head.
Oh, good for you.
Hello, Mrs. Munson.
She's enjoying my prawn cocktail. How have you enjoyed being transported back to the 1970s? What? I mean, that was probably the response people used to get in the 70s.
Give him a compliment. He's been flashing that prawn cocktail all evening. Give him a compliment, Mrs. M.
It tastes different. Yeah, but everything tastes different. The curly whirly tastes different. The wagon wheel tastes different. Of course, the prawn cocktail tastes different as well. Your steak will be ready in just a moment, and Black Forest Gatto in a little while. Okay. Thank you very much, Linda. 4.5. Garvo, the Pacheco. I'm really enjoying this. Thank you for the recommendation. How are you going to mark it?
It's still my king, I'm afraid. It's still the champion. I love it so much because it's so different from most of the rosés. I'm going to mark it as a rosé, and I'm going to give it 4.9.
Wow.
Almost perfect.
Wow. High score.
Oh, I have to
Do
try
you
that
think
one.
Garvo, that's a proper score you got.
Yeah, and if you're blindfolded, you're never too late to join the wine club. Michael and Kat, if you want to join us on screen, you're most welcome, and we'll have a bit of a lock in a minute. But if you were blindfolded and you were given this, might you mistake it for a white wine?
No, because it's got that red fruit taste about it. It's still brings that little bit of red fruit taste.
Okay. Yeah, okay. I was just thinking it's so seriously dry.
Well,
I'll pass that on.
That is a great point.
But have you guys wondered how these wines, especially fizz, because you know a lot of the elements of the wine, they really open up with the fizz. But usually when you're doing any kind of rosé, if we were to do a blind taste test based on not on price but the different kinds, different varietals, I don't think, because the quality and the standard of wines is, as I've been saying for a long time, is so amazing in Portugal, I don't think you would find, there would be a variation, but based on price, you would not be able to tell, oh, this is an €8 one and this is a €3 one, or this is a €4 one. Because, there are some that are garbage, but then most of the wines over here, it's amazing. This wine I picked up today from Continent was on sale. It was for $2.99. I think it's very good quality rosé. The local ones that you can drink are this Antonio Massanita guy, who's I remember we did the orange.
Yeah.
We did their orange wine, right? A long time ago.
Absolutely.
That was like a €20 bottle. And it was nice, but I've had better for quite cheaper. So in Portugal, you can do anything.
Yeah, well said.
I couldn't agree more with you,
Not quite as
frankly.
expensive.
You
It's
can
only about
pick up
8
amazing bottles. Yeah, you can pick up amazing bottles of wine for under €3, which is unheard of in the UK or anywhere else I've been.
Yeah.
And the range of wines you get is just incredible. So, it's a heavy night for the Austins there.
What's going on there? Yeah.
No. He's a trooper, Pete. Don't worry about Garvo. He's a trooper. He's the Energizer battery, that guy. And then Linda, after 3 glasses, look at that smile. Linda, come on, give us a smile. You know what's going down.
4.5, 4.9. Let's go to swim down now. So tell us more about it and your final score, please, at the Bleach House or Casa Bleach.
It's very dry.
Yeah, it's too dry for me, to be honest.
I prefer, like Gary, sweeter.
So I'd be really interested to try the one that Linda's trying. I think that sounds really good. But I don't think I probably wouldn't like the one you you gave a 4.9 because I don't like dry, but I'm a smoker, so I've got no palate at all, right? So you could give me a Grand Cru or something fizzy from the shop for $2.99, and I wouldn't really know the difference. So it's probably because I haven't got a developed palate, I think is probably why. But I'd give it a 2.5, I suppose, something like that.
Oh, really?
Maximum of 3. I don't think I'd buy it again. It's too dry.
Yeah,
And
it's really dry.
Based on your taste, not that it's a bad wine.
No, I think it's a good wine, but it's
just too dry for me.
It's a good wine if you want to feel like you've been in the Sahara for 4 months or something. That's the kind of
sand
wine
in your ears and that sort of
Wow.
thing. Okay, and can you tell us a little bit more about that winemaker? Is there more to say about them?
So, yeah, it's our local Adega. So it's the Adega from Fundal, and they do a really good. A couple of reds are brilliant, but I wouldn't recommend the rosé. They do a good white as well, don't they?
Yeah.
But it's all from certified vineyards near us, which are quite high altitude because they're mainly in the Gardenia Mountains, most of the vineyards that they get them from. But it's a vineyard that, unfortunately enough, is like a lot around here that's probably dying out. It's we know quite a few of our friends who've, like Joe, who you've met, Gary. You know Joe and well, his dad really, Clint and Julie. They've getting rid of their vineyard completely and replacing it with cherries.
Is it too hard to make wine?
Well, there's just no profit in it, honestly. There really isn't. It's one of the hardest things to make. Even the we know in the Douro, who have Douro wines are meant to be the best wines in Portugal. They've got quite a big operation, 8 hectares of quite intensive vineyards, and
had a bad year.
They really struggle, and it's one of those things where I think we have to make the most out of it now. At the moment, we've got a plethora of amazing wines at incredible prices, but I don't think that's going to continue forever because it's not a viable operation to do. Do you know what I mean? I think it's getting more and more difficult to make any money.
Are you making some grander prophecy about this, MP?
Well, I don't know. I just think if I had a vineyard here, I'd probably swap it over for something else. I don't, right? But if
everyone did that, though, that would change the game, wouldn't it? Culturally and nationally.
But it's happening. So I know for a fact, locally here, we've got.
He doesn't make wine anymore.
He doesn't make wine, but we've also got a whole load of vineyards that are converting over to places where they're putting solar panels up. Yeah, and what I'm saying is that, from the perspective that we see locally, and I've got no idea what it's like nationally, but I would imagine it's not dissimilar. I think we're in a really fortunate period in terms of what we can get for what price, because I don't think there'll be as many vineyards around. The people
I don't want this generation that you're seeing on screen here to be the ones who say, we remember when there were vineyards everywhere, and now there aren't, and they've been replaced by bloody trees and panels. I mean, we can hopefully maintain a diversity. That's not to say we don't need more cherry trees or more solar panels, but we don't need to replace vines to do that, do we necessarily? There's other land available.
But as a farmer, you've got to make a profit. You can't live on thin air, and ultimately, it's very difficult. Even we grow olives, and in theory, there's a real profit in olives and how much they've gone up recently. And still, even doing that, I don't know how people afford to buy a new truck every 6 or 7 years when they've got to do the harvest and take it in. It's hard work.
Yeah, HP. Yeah, they're borrowing from the future, aren't they? I'm guessing, and that's how it seems to work. Right.
By the way, I don't know if you guys noticed, Garvo is misbehaving on cue.
Is he? What's he up to? I didn't know.
Look at what he's doing. Have you finished that bottle, you already? Can't be relied on. Yeah. Linda, this guy on your left.
So we are commending the Adega Fundal, but not a great score in terms of Diane and Pete's personal preferences. But shout out to Adega Fundal because they do a great red. And it's interesting, isn't it? Because I'm sure some Adegas, when they've got reds and whites, they feel obliged to do a rosé, which might be there for a marketing thing to complement and complete the range, but might not necessarily be a great wine.
But I think Gary would probably really like it. So I think it's just entirely a matter of taste, to be honest. And I think that's a great thing. That's a great thing about wine in general, is that even if you get a score from the greatest sommelier in the world, you wouldn't necessarily agree with what they said. It's entirely down to your palate, which is Sounds
But in your neck of the woods, they do a lot of cooking with wine as well. So the thing is that there's a lot of red wine cooking. There's a lot of white wine cooking. There's a lot of stews being done, especially this time of the year. They do some amazing stuff with the wine. So it's not just drinking the wine. And people are still producing wines. It's just that, you know, what the sad part is that the small guy is getting eliminated. And that's the sad part. But the medium guy, or obviously the ones who are higher up, they're still doing their thing. It's just that I kind of feel that the essence of Portugal is usually, and especially during the winter, it's usually the different kinds of wines, the different kinds of stews, the different kinds of whatever. I don't think that is about to go away anytime soon. I don't think the solar panels are going to take over that quickly.
Thank you, Frank. I will relax now and hear your score. We have a pink fizz, and you picked it up.
A pink fizz, and I'll tell you something. This one, I just looked at the label, and this one is. I'm not surprised. This one is done around where you used to live in the area, Anadia.
Yeah.
So this Continent Fizz is done in the Anadia area, and I usually don't get. I drink a lot of fizz, but I don't do rosé. I did it for you guys today. I was just like, I want to try this, but I'll tell you this: it's not a party trick. This thing is actually quite nice. This one, you should absolutely try this for the price point. For $2.99, you should just go and get yourself a crate. And
goodness, and that's what's going to be drinking with Leitão, isn't it? It's going to be going with suckling pig.
This is exactly what I was going. Where I was going is that this is the one that you would do with the Leitão, and it would be perfect with that. This is how you do in Portugal, and as always, I have no problems with it. I would give it easy. Is it out of 5?
Yeah.
It's easy a 4.5.
Very good. Okay.
It's beautiful. It's sexy, and not as sexy as you, Carlito, but it is sexy.
I mean, what is? Let's face it. But Contemporal 4.5 for Frank there. Fantastic to go with a bit of Leitão. Michael, good evening to you. How are you? Tudo bem? And Kat.
Michele, my long lost Villarreal de Santo Antonio friend. Where are you? Michele and Kat.
Sitting in the no-tell motel in Porto.
All right.
Mute button, Michele.
No, we can hear him. I think maybe unmute your speakers or something, Frank. We can hear Michael and Kat in Porto this evening. Okay, so on tour at the moment.
Oh, in Porto.
Yeah.
Okay, not the best of lines.
Tomorrow, Madeira.
Yeah.
Are you heading off to Madeira? Amazing. Okay,
No,
well, have a
I think
fantastic time then. Okay, well, join us in the lock-in because it'll be a little bit easier.
Crappy internet.
Oh, okay, all right. We'll come back to you, Michael and Kat, in a little while. Just remains for me to score this one then. I'm grateful for the introduction, Garvo. Pacheca, I just realised it's a Douro Rosé. Gone very nicely. Perfect pairing. My intuition was correct. Don't listen to Mrs. M. I don't know why she didn't like it. I thought this was delicious. Plenty of pepper, as well as the mass-produced rosemary sauce. Delicious. With a little bits of chopped gherkin. Fantastic. And the rosé is going down perfectly with that.
Beautiful.
I drink this again, Garvo, and I'm going to give it 4.5 because as a way of saying welcome to my world. Really, it's not it's not my favorite wine, but if I've got to choose a rosé, now I know which one I'm going to choose. I didn't have that before. I didn't have my go-to rosé. I think I've got it now, thanks to you. So 4.5.
Nice. That is awesome.
All right, there you go. And
Garvo is always very good with this kind of stuff. He's got a good record. He's got a good track record.
Guys, I'm going to give a few tips now, right? We're going to show you the also rans, right?
Give it to me, Garvo. Give it.
Yeah, right. If you're in for a good bargain for a rosé, this one. Can you give me a full screen, Carl? Right. It's Jean Perez, right?
Yeah.
Nice wine.
A great all-round
It's
wine.
more girly, that one, doesn't it?
It kind of sits halfway between these two.
It's nice. It's nice.
And it's only about
Uh,
€3.5 a bottle.
kind of suspect there, Garvo. I'm going to grow tits after drinking that.
Well, there you go.
That's
And then the one that almost topped my king was this one. This isn't the rosé, this is a red, but it's the same.
See?
There's Tostoish, right?
Oh, that's a nice label.
That's a
red.
fine.
What is it?
There's Tostoish.
Right. Okay.
Okay.
10 toast, right? That's the red, but they do a rosé version, which almost topped this one. Not quite, but it's still a lovely wine. So that one, as your good value wine, about €3.5. This one is probably somewhere around 7 to 10.
Right.
Beautiful.
And you've been doing some research, clearly.
Well, it's wine, isn't it? Come on.
Did you just say 10 toes?
There's Tostoish, yes, 10 toast.
Toasts, as in toast. I thought you said
No,
toast.
it's actually got something to do with tokens. I can't remember the big story, but it was something to do with, you know, when the people used to be paid in tokens instead of cash.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Tokens. It was something to do with that. I can't remember the story, but their red is fabulous.
Mate, I've just done a quick Google search. Tostoish on its own is rusks, as in babies.
Yeah.
Rusks.
No,
Dej Tostoish is 10 pennies. So I think that historical reference is there, isn't it? That it was some sort of payment. Dej Tostoish. Will you take a bottle of red instead? Yes, we will. It looks really beautiful, that label. Hello, everyone from Mike's here, I think. Well, Mike and or Karen this evening. Good to see you. One bag and a passport. And the Squire's here. Evening, Squire. Getting everyone settled. We're very well settled now. Come join us in the lock-in in a moment. If anybody wants to have a little drink with us after the show, just drop me a line on WhatsApp and I'll send you the link to join us. Right. Is there any other further announcements or messages you want to share before we go? Frank, a message from you from the Algarve?
No message. Just stop mucking about. Come to Algarve.
All right, fair enough. Same old, basically.
We might do
Central
that,
Portugal. Central Portugal. How are things going on around there?
Right.
Oh, sorry, I meant the bleach.
Yeah, both of us can answer that. So go on, Gary, you go first, mate.
Central West Side for the Casa Bleach. What's going on?
We've got loads going on. So we have Halloween coming up. So we've got a Halloween party in the village.
Yes.
Nice.
I've raffle, which unfortunately I decided to buy about like 50% of the raffle tickets. And I think there's 4 live lambs that are prizes. So I'm going to have all the fun of a live lamb that we have to dispatch and cut into little bits of lamb. And maybe a freezer space off you there, Gary, anyway, if you want some lamb. And what else have we got going?
Olive harvest coming up.
Oh, yeah. And we've got some wicked outfits for Halloween as well. So I'm quite looking forward to that. It shouldn't be too bad at all. So I'll come back with one in a second, actually.
Very good. Thank you very much, Diane and Pete. You've missed this in Central Portugal, the inflatable buttocks, which I think
we were there for that one, actually. But
no, I mean,
that was nice.
You do not want to erect that in high winds, do you? So they erred on the side of caution with that. What else can people enjoy in Central Portugal, east side, the Austins?
What can you enjoy in Central Portugal, east side? Well, things are calming down now. We've had our festa. We've had the big one, the 3-4 day one. I tell you what, we had a lovely motor rally as well. That was great. Pete's not looking too
nice one, Pete.
Told you he wasn't well.
Yeah. Put the Pete mask.
That's what I like. That's what I like about Pete. He's never well.
So anything else, Al Viagra style?
I suppose the next festival is the Castagna one. That's what Magusta, which is lovely here.
The Jarapiga.
The Jarapiga, you get the old liqueur that's made from the chestnuts as well. And we went to the local, the library,
the museum.
The museum hold like an event for anybody that wants to come, basically.
And you've always got exploding chestnuts, haven't you? Because you've got some old guy on the barbecue.
No, it's just the way it walks.
Just exploding all over the place. I love that. I think
he doesn't cross them, does he? That's what, and pow, they go. But yeah, that was a lovely thing where everybody gets together and, you know, they have stuff which is made from chestnuts, whether it be cake, whether it be pudding,
wine, pudding,
liqueur, whatever.
everything.
And then they got the cheese and the wine flowing, and everybody goes there and gets on. And, you know, as strangeiros, right, we were welcomed with open arms. And, you know, although we didn't speak great Portuguese, they just loved us and brought us in and said, you know, try real Portugal. So
wonderful. Great note to end on. So this has been his and hers rosés, the idea of Gary and Linda. You can see on the screen there, or Linda and Gary, as you see them on the screen. And fair to say, it's not a battle, is it? His and hers. It's about complementary.
Never.
It's about understanding. It's about balance. It's about preference. It's about the two halves that make the whole, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Very good. Very good. Okay, let's go out with our new theme, and we'll have a little drink afterwards together. Stick around, and if you want to join us, get in touch with me on WhatsApp, and I'll send you the link to do that. I hope the Squire will join us, and Michael as well can come back. Michael and Kat can come back, and they can curse not live instead. Okay, thanks for joining us this evening. Take care. Bye for now.